Yeah, we don't like to think too hard about what we're doing. If we think too hard about it, overthinking it is no good.
Smoke comes out of our ears. Yeah.
Yeah, then it gets too real, right?
Yeah, I think it's a little too real.
Got to
Try not to make it feel like
disassociate
work.
a little bit.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Kev,
Jackie, thank you so much for joining us. What were you going to say, Taylor?
I was going to say, since this is probably the last one of the year, I opted to not wear a hat because Kevin gives me a hard time about wearing non-Canadian baseball team hats on most of these. So today I actually decided to go
and he has no loyalty to anybody. He's like wearing LA hats. He's wearing like Chicago hats. He's wearing Boston. I'm like, come on, man. We have one baseball team in Canada.
Yeah, you got to get a Blue Jays hat, especially after this year's series. You gotta show them some love. I won't say I'm a Dodgers fan, but I'm a Dodgers fan. So
I was gonna wear
I
was gonna wear my Dodgers hat. Like at this point, I'm just doing it because it triggers Kevin, and I think it's funny. But I was like, maybe I'll throw on the Dodgers hat, and then I decided not to. But sorry, back to your intro before I rudely interrupted you.
All right. Well, Jackie, thank you so much for joining us. It's rare that we get to speak with a marketing operator, specifically someone that works for a co-working business such as yourself, and to kind of tap into what you're seeing and your expertise and all of your experience. So we're really excited to have this conversation with you and just sort of pick your brain. And we've got a bunch of questions, so we're just going to just fire them at you. And don't worry about having all the answers, because I certainly don't. And I think it's really just a way for us to kind of share notes and learn from you.
I'm gonna jump in here real quick, Kev, because you've gotten mad at me about this before, and we can edit this in post if we need to. But it sounds like you're coming. It sounds like you're coming over your AirPods, which I know upsets you.
Something instead of letting me. I'm gonna maybe leave and come back, and then we'll start.
Okay. Hopefully it doesn't mess things up.
Can you put on the hold music? Like do do do.
I'll do like a cut in for him.
That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, with a little hold music. So Kev, are you back?
I'm back. Yeah, I switched my microphone to the wrong sound. Sound better? Okay. Yeah, I switched.
Scarlet.
Scarlet. Yeah.
We've gone from K-Pods to Scarlet 6i6
Scarlet.
USB.
Yeah, that's just my device, but she's got a nice name, so yeah.
I like K-Pods. Awesome. You sound better.
I love it. I need to name my stuff. I'm so lame. I just call myself Jake Quellen.
Jake Quellen.
Yeah.
Jake Quellen. Tell us the story of that
Thank you, Jake Quellen. Oh, it's from the P and Keel skit where they're pronouncing the names wrong. It's the substitute teacher. And he's like, hey, Ron, is there an Ron on the list? And he's like, Aaron?
D Nice?
Yeah, D Nice. Yep.
Such a good one.
It's a deep cut.
We'll do a cut in for that to cover Kevin jumping off and back on and backing off on.
Perfect.
Okay, where were we?
Hey, Vaughn.
We'll try that again. We'll try it again, Jackie. It is so awesome to have you on our podcast, even with all our tech issues that are happening, and we're having lots of fun with it. So, as I said kind of before, and I don't know if we'll keep it in, but it's really nice to have an operator who's in the trenches doing the marketing for multi-location operators, and just kind of hearing and learning from you and what you're seeing and what you're doing out there. And none of us have the answers. Taylor and I certainly don't. I don't even know why people listen to this show. But
that's why we do this, because somebody else might have the answers.
Wives out there and whoever else. But yeah, so we're really excited. We've got some good questions for you, and we're just going to kind of throw them at you and see where the conversation goes. So I guess I'll just start off by just asking you a little bit about what does your team structure look like? Like what does it look like to kind of come in and manage your marketing and is it external and internal? What's the general way you execute all your marketing?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And first of all, I'm honored to be here. Thank you for having me on. It's great to talk to two people that just do marketing for their bread and butter, and just to be able to nerd out with the two of you. So thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. Our team is really, our team is small but mighty. We don't work with an agency. We do most of our marketing in-house. We hire like a web developer to help us with the technical stuff. But it's myself as the CMO. We have a marketing manager and a marketing coordinator. They're actually both part-time. Our marketing coordinator helps run our Roseville Center. Our marketing manager has been with the company over 16 years. So her wealth of knowledge is incredible. She used to be a community manager. So she has that like operations side that helps connect me in. Because the way we approach it is we really treat like sales, marketing, and operations as one ecosystem. And we're just all feeding one another, right? Because marketing is involved not just in getting us leads, getting us clients, but also in our retention, right? And just our overall brand reputation. So for us, we really try to save dollars based on our skill set. So we do a lot of our SEO in-house. I run our Google Ads account. We have hired Unity to help us with our AI in the sales process. So we have that over email, over web chat. We work in HubSpot. We have Yardi Cube for our ERP. What else? Am I missing anything? But yeah, that's the gist of it. I work closely with our managing directors and our managing partners. So basically how it works out is each of them has 4 to 5 centers. We have 16 in our portfolio total. Some of them centralize their sales. Some of them have their community managers do it right away. We have a marketing meeting every Monday. It's actually coming up after this. All the partners and directors are on that call. We all talk shop. We come up with promotions. We talk about occupancy. We talk about needs at the center. Then I get on once a month with all of our community managers, all of our coordinators, and we have a monthly roundtable. So we just talk all together about, it could be about Yardi Cube, it could be about HubSpot, it could be about planning events, it could be about setting expectations with members as your center is growing or as your center is going through a renovation. We communicate. Our motto at PAC is we care. And that's really what you get, not just like as a member coming in, but as an employee, you get so much support. Like you could go to our CEO, our COO, ask them a question as a manager, as a coordinator, and they will be there and they will be able to help you. So I think that is really a big thing that sets us apart.
Yeah, it's cool to hear how you organize everybody together, because I know that like this might be kind of like an underrated or, under-considered element, but like managing, you guys have 17 locations, is that right?
16, we're down to 16, yeah.
16, but having 16 locations with 16 different community teams and things like that, all of whom are involved in the marketing to some degree, the act of just trying to wrangle everybody to be on the same page and get everybody, to kind of like march the beat of the same drum isn't always easy. So it's just having that system in place is huge. And I feel like sometimes it's undervalued or kind of doesn't get the attention it deserves within a multi-location operation.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And that's something like I came in, I've been doing marketing for about 15 years, but I'd never worked in co-working other than I worked at an executive suites in Bel Air, California. When I was like 21, I was a receptionist and I helped like show offices. So that was like my one little in at PAC. It was so funny because our COO knew some of my old like bosses. Hilarious. But me coming into the organization as a newbie, right? As this new person, I'm not sitting there telling people about the industry, right? They're telling me. So I really wanted buy-in. So I sat down with every single community manager because to your point, we are marketing like PAC the brand, right? Pacific Workplaces. But we have 16 like little micro environments that were like micro markets that we're like trying to reach. So I sat down with every community manager and we did like a target audience discussion where I just was like, who's coming in? How far will people drive if they want a private office? How far will people drive if they want a virtual office? I just went down this like list of questions. And from that, we shaped every campaign for those locations. And we do it every year where I sit down and I just say, what has changed at your center? What's new with your members? We could be shifting in San Francisco from having mostly attorneys to now having tech startups, to now having AI companies, which is what's happening. And then you have our location in Roseville, which is like a Sacramento suburb. That's all CPAs. It's all attorneys. And in the summer, nobody comes in because they're all at like Lake Folsom with their kids. They don't want to be at the office. So it's really interesting, like to your point, that we have, all those different things in play.
Yeah, I was super curious about that as far as how much of the marketing was set kind of at a centralized level and then how much of that was tweaked and tailored based on the individual locations. But it sounds like you got them it's all very uniquely tailored to every location.
Yeah, we really try to do that. Like we have, like our Google Ads campaigns, we have them set up to where every product has its own like radius, right? Because someone with a virtual office is going to be willing to be further away from the center than someone with a private office, especially if there's like any traffic in that city at all. So we really don't have many campaigns that are just like the PAC brand because we go all the way from Reno, Las Vegas to the Bay Area. And then in between there, we have Sacramento, Roseville. And they're just all so different. It's really hard to have a catch-all campaign to get all those people.
Yeah. So, like, was there ever a time when you thought about managing it all at the kind of like not the corporate level, but, like managing it all at the centralized level and just kind of like disseminating to the locations? Was that like a very active kind of based on the micro markets and based on all the things you're talking about? Was that like a very active decision to be like, we're not going to keep this all centralized. We're really going to get everybody involved?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Just because of our geographic reach and it's not all concentrated in one area. Like if we had 5 locations all within the same, similar radius, like I know there's some operators that do that. They've got locations like every 5 to 10 miles apart and they just like own, that metro area. We really haven't done that. In Sacramento, we have 3 locations. They're all pretty close to one another. One is downtown. One's in this tiny little like pocket of a neighborhood. It's literally in an old library building. And then the other one is kind of like right in between that. So again, like completely different audiences, right? Like our downtown people, they're right by the Capitol. So those are our attorneys and our CPAs, the people that, right? The people that are in the Greenhaven library location, they like have a small home business and they just want to get out like away from their kids or their spouse or whatever so they can concentrate. Um, so it's really like just finding the right audience because we also don't want to do a catch-all because all of our locations look different. We don't have that like extreme brand continuity between each location because the way that we do like our deals with landlords is that we basically, we don't want to spend money on renovations, right? So we want to work that into our deals and we want to be able to have that presentation without like sticking to like our J Street location downtown. It's got kind of that industrial like pipes from the building, right? It's just the way the building's designed. And then the library location in Greenhaven, we can't make it look like that. We can't like tear out the drywall and expose pipes, right? It just wouldn't make sense. And it works for the people that like going there, that like that sentiment.
Yeah. And so last question, I swear I'll stop talking and ask some questions, but I was just curious. We didn't really dive into your background. I know that you said you hadn't worked in co-working before. And then so talking about like the micro markets and obviously marketing for the co-working industry is kind of unique to most other ones because of those micro markets. So I just wanted to ask you, like, what was your background before this? How did you get into co-working? And then like, how do you find that this marketing for co-working differs from everything else that you've done in the past? And how did you wrap your mind around that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So my background is right after college, I started working for a startup of custom luxury homes inside a private golf community. Okay. So this was like 2012. This was when SEO was like, we barely knew what SEO was. I'm trying to target like luxury buyers from the Bay Area, from SoCal, to move to Reno, Nevada. No one knows where Reno is at this point, except they're like, oh, is it near Vegas? Can I gamble there? No, it's not near Vegas. Yes, you can gamble here. So we kind of were fighting like a reputation of a town while still trying to get brand awareness and just be on the map and get clicks and leads and like fill our funnel. So I did that for about 5 years. Then I moved on to a sales and marketing role at the golf course. That was part of that luxury community. And I did that for 5 years as well. The club was very hospitality focused. And I absolutely see that and the real estate carry over into co-working. And I think that's where I've found my passion is like, it's a different way of helping people. It's a different way of getting people what they need to make their lives easier, right? So I really, really enjoyed that. Then I worked at a logistics company. It was worth $1 billion, located here in Reno. So with that, I went from small business to corporate and I got this corporate budget. And I was like, oh, this is nice. And, which you don't get at the smaller businesses, which is absolutely okay. But with that, I got to play with AI tools. I got to really dive into, using like prospecting tools, like using Zoom info to pull information, content marketing, like to the max, because it's highly competitive in the logistics industry. Your competition is your customer. And I think that is kind of like co-working where it's highly competitive, but it's opposite of the logistics industry where we all have the same problems and we all just want to help each other and make it easier because at the end of the day, we all benefit. And that was why I left the logistics industry, is because I just didn't like the dog eat dog kind of, feeling that you would get, which is, for some people, that's totally fine, right? Like that's fits them. I was attracted to co-working for going back to a small business. And when I reached out to Laurent, he's our CEO, he messaged me on Indeed. He said, "Why do you want a job in co-working?" And I told him about my experience at, it's called Barrister Executive Suites. West Coast people probably have heard of it, which is hilarious. And he started naming all my old bosses and my area manager. This job, I was 21, I'm 35. She added me on Instagram just the other day, my old area manager. I was like, how do you remember me? That's like, it's just so, that's what's so cool about this industry is people remember you, right?
Yeah.
People want to see you succeed. They want to see you grow. You're a new operator. You're trying to go from one location to 2 locations. My CEO, my COO, they're going to be like, "Oh, cool. Here's our best advice. This is what you should try here. Reach out to us anytime." And that is so cool. I've never, ever in my life worked in an industry where people have been so open. So that's really the big thing for me.
Yeah, it kind of catches you off guard a little bit when people are so forthcoming and nice. You're like, what?
Yeah, you're like, is this a trick? Hello?
Yeah.
I've also seen, though, there is a direct correlation between the most successful people and the most generous people. And I find like that those charts kind of go together. And I don't know if that's just like a mindset thing or if it's whatever. But yeah, I find this industry in particular is very open, considering also at the same time that it is a game of inches, that it is very much like it is competitive in a sense, right? And you have to execute along the edges to do really well. So it's a tough business to be very successful at. And counterintuitively, it's also the most open and generous industry. And all of my clients and friends, they're sharing information and data and best practices and tips. And I'm just blown away by that too. It's great. That's one of the things that brought me into this industry as well, just how welcome and warm and approachable the industry is, which is awesome.
Yeah. Everybody just wants to create, it's not about getting your slice of the pie necessarily. It's like creating a bigger pie so that everybody can get a slice, right?
Yeah.
It seems like
growing the industry. Yeah, I agree with that.
So what's working for you right now? What are some things that are kind of having disproportionate results, if you could put your finger on a couple of those?
Yeah, I would say the investments we've made in AI have been really, really great. Having the agent as the go-between. So how that works with our sales process is you'll go to our website, fill out a web form, which is about 75% of our leads fill out a web form, which is amazing. And then our AI agent, responds in less than 2 minutes, and works the lead, like goes back and forth. So our community managers can be better people, right? Like AI is not taking jobs away from humans. It's letting humans be better humans. So they're able to just handle stuff, right? Like on their day to day. And then when they need to, the AI agent will hand off and say, "Oh, great. We've gotten you the information," like to the client. "We've gotten you the information. So-and-so will reach out to you." So they're expecting it, right? And they usually get that within the same day. If it's at the end of the day, maybe it's the next morning. But that speed to lead for us has been extremely helpful. We just implemented the web chat feature like 2 months ago, and already we have had, we've already had a quarter of our leads use the web chat.
Yeah,
wow,
it's huge.
1/4.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah, so we're keeping that. And then just like LinkedIn ads, actually. So when I first came on, I joined the company last April. So I'm coming up on 2 years. And we kind of just like stuck with Google ads. A lot of the marketing dollars were being put into tools. And what I kind of did is I went in and I looked at those tools, looked at the ROI, looked at our lead volume. And there was a lot of things we were spending a large volume on that weren't necessarily helping those things. They were helping with brand awareness. They were helping with reputation. But PAC has been in the game over 20 years. We have a lot of recognition in the Bay Area. We have a great reputation. I think we have like over 500 Trustpilot reviews, and we have like a 4.9. Yeah. Wow. But Trustpilot is $20,000 a year. And that's too much. So that's like an example of where we took some of those marketing dollars and we're injecting that back in to what we know generates leads. And to our conversation we had, Kevin, about cost per acquisition, I've watched our cost per acquisition go down as a result of that because we're spending more, right? We're not spending more of the total budget, but we've just reallocated into what makes more sense. So that I think has been extremely helpful. The LinkedIn ads, as I mentioned, those have been great for promotions. So really targeted, like 1 month free on a 6-month term, or we did like a tax season, like really like hot deal. I think it was like 1 month free for 3 months. You could have an office during tax season. We got like 50% converted to 12-month contract, which is insane, right? So that shows you like once we get them there, they're good. Like our managers are incredible. They like the experience. They like the community, but we just need to let them know that it's there. So that I think when I came in, there wasn't a like formal CMO doing the job. One of our managing directors was helping out because there was just no one in the role in the interim. So everything was wonderful that was being done, but they just needed like, we just needed like some reallocation, redirection of things. And we've had an increase of wins year over year of over 33%. So it's been great.
As a percentage of closed deals, like as a close ratio, nice. From lead to close kind of thing. Huge. And you don't have a salesperson, right? It's all director level, like location center level.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So we don't have AI close deals unless it's like on demand, like something where they can click a link and buy. We still have the full-time offices done through our people. One of our directors centralizes sales. The others do not. They just have their managers do it. So it's just unique to those regions and what makes the most sense. Like one of our directors has like Santa Cruz, Cupertino, and San Jose. To hit all those locations in a day is like nearly impossible. So geographically, like because we're a little bit spread out, it's just whatever works best for that region.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Those are some really good tips. Yeah. What were we going to ask, Taylor?
I was just curious too. Like we've been talking a lot about marketing for prospective members, but I was cruising the website and I saw that you guys also do landlord partnerships and broker promotions. So I'm curious, like, what percentage of your marketing focus goes to marketing to members versus marketing to landlords versus marketing to brokers?
Marketing to landlords is extremely difficult to do from a like mass perspective. Like how do we target like just a group of landlords without like going through Zoom info or, prospecting that list? And even then when you get that list, like how good is it? Like how stale is it? Usually it's only like 40 to 50% of those emails are any good. So largely our executive team does the landlord conversation. So that's mostly our CEO and COO. So I'm really not involved in that kind of stuff. I do create materials, presentations, like landing pages that they can review. The biggest thing that landlords want to see is that our customer reviews are better than other people's. That's really what we've gotten, at least in the Bay Area. Yeah. Yeah, and that our SEO is good. They want to see that we're on the first page. They want to see that we're on the local pack. So that's really our focus when it comes to marketing to landlords, is making sure our SEO is on point.
Interesting.
For broke,
and they find you, like and as a result they kind of reach out to you, sort of thing, or is it still effort to get them to contact you?
That's a great question. I think Laurent and Scott, our founders, have great relationships all throughout the city, all throughout it's their homes too. Like they live there. Yeah. So I don't know if they're reaching out to us or if it's just ongoing conversations that are being had. But we do definitely find sites. Like we are not just like gonna just go for a site that's offered to us. We are very, discerning to make sure it fits in our brand. It's going to fit in our portfolio. Also, we have to look at our non-competes. We have to look and make sure that we're not going to be cannibalizing ourselves, in one of those regions. Like we're probably not going to add a fourth Sacramento location. I think we've got all those areas covered.
Yeah. A foothold in the market. And so as far as brokers go, I'm always interested
Yeah.
in the broker marketing aspect of things. Like, is that a significant focus? I guess maybe like a two-part question. Do you put a lot of emphasis on the brokers? And then also, how do you find marketing to brokers? Like, are you seeing that there's more buy-in, or is it more of you still have to educate them about why this isn't like eating their lunch, or why they should consider it? Like, what does that look like
Yeah.
for you guys?
Yeah, it just depends. It's kind of all over the board with education versus, yeah, the general just the general feedback that we get. So when we have a new like center opening, we will absolutely engage with brokers in that region. We will typically work with someone in the area, a company or government agency or chamber or someplace that can get us a list. And usually that's our managing directors, managing partners go and do that for us. They get us the list and then we create the content around it. Yeah, it's really nice. Like we don't really have to go out and find those people. We've tried to do targeted campaigns like PPC. It's extremely difficult and I don't see an ROI on that or think that it's worth it. Even on our email lists, like our open rate's lower, than it is for our typical, CRM contacts. The click-through rate is lower. They like a deal. They like it to be pretty snappy and just know, right, what we're getting. Yeah. We have a dedicated person on our team he's not part of marketing. He's part of sales and he's our corporate accounts and channels manager. So Chase, he will typically kind of have those conversations with the broker. If we get an inquiry on the website for 10 seats or more, it goes to Chase. It goes to the corporate accounts team and he can work that deal, get them what they need. We have special presentations just for the brokers it doesn't have we care in it. It doesn't have, any of the fluff. Like they can just say, okay, what's the price? What am I getting? What's the value? Is this good for my client? Here you go.
How fast can we close this deal?
Sure, yeah. And what's my commission, right? Which is like everybody benefits if we can do that. We don't see a ton of broker activity. It's there, but it's not significant.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm trying to look at these questions I had. I feel like you've covered a lot of the good stuff that I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you already.
Sorry.
No, it's good. You're saying things and I'm like, nice. I was going to ask you that. I'm curious. One thing I was curious is like the Pacific Workplaces brand is very tailored to the West Coast. Like, do you find that having that brand that caters mostly to California and a little bit of Nevada, like, does that give Pacific Workplaces a competitive advantage in being like very hyper focused on the West Coast?
I think that it does. And there's also the other side of the coin where it could limit us, right? So we have this strong Bay Area, Northern California presence. We had a location in Phoenix and that just didn't work out for us. And that's where we didn't have the brand recognition to help bolster us. We had a lot of competition in the area. We had issues with signage where it was really hard to find the building. It was really hard to find the suite number. And we opened when Phoenix was not really even starting to come back from COVID. So it was challenging for us. We ended up closing that location after about 18 months, 2 years. And that's where we looked at our portfolio and we said, okay, like this Bay Area presence, we need to decide, are we doubling down on this or are we going to continue to try to break into new markets? And the consensus for now is we are going to stick to the Bay Area. Like we know what we know. We're really good at it and we want to provide that service. We don't want to go through the, process of where we have to disappoint people, right? Of closing the center or having, members that we have to turn away. We gave it an absolute great try. We had a great community manager, but we learned a lot from that. And I think that, what was I going to say? With the Bay Area presence, I think it's really interesting because the Bay Area had a very unique reaction to COVID. And this is also something where people would be like, oh, you're doing business in the Bay, you're crazy. Because COVID was almost, 6 years ago? San Francisco is just now coming back. Like it's just now maybe 80% of what it was before 2020. Really? Yeah, it had a lot slower like recoup. because it got hit so hard. And a lot of companies just didn't want to do business there anymore because of the conditions that the city was under. So it's really cool and really exciting to see like occupancy creep back up in certain centers and to see leads, at volumes that they were even like higher than they were before COVID. So that's really nice. But that's the challenge, right? With being in the Bay Area is, yeah, we have this brand recognition, but we're in a really tough US market.
Yeah, I didn't realize that about San Francisco. And it's also crazy to think that COVID was 6 years ago. I feel like we all just kind of suppressed it. We got past it and just were like, didn't happen. Forget it.
Like, what is a mask? I don't know what that is. I found one the other day. I was like,
yeah. I've gone into an old jacket pocket and found like a fabric one, and then just like you hook it over your ears for a second and you're like, this is incredibly uncomfortable. I can't believe we had to live like this for so long.
I wore one yesterday. We were at the doctor's and my son was coughing all over people, so the only way I could get my son to wear one was
if you wore one.
Was if I wore one. So just trying to be respectful. It did bring it all back. Like, oh my gosh, it was a wild time for marketing, wild time for co-working, and for the world, obviously. But it's nice that we're kind of putting that behind us, and all the kind of markets we're all moving on, and because that was a stressful time. It was pretty wild.
It was a tough time.
That's when I lost about 40% of my hair. So we're not going to go back to that time. I got a couple of tactical kind of questions for you, Jackie. It's still there. Yeah. It's still there. I just keep it trim. So tactically speaking, so you're talking about AI, right? Let's talk a little bit about that because that's what everyone wants us to talk about in general.
Okay.
And so you're using Unity for your sales, and I've had also great results working with them, and we're rolling out live chat on a few client sites, and it's really excited to hear that that's worked well for you because I think it's a huge conversion point, chat in general, but also something like AI chat works really, really well. Is there anything else you're doing with AI, either just like kind of functionally or in general, like that's working for you well right now?
Yeah, so we identified that we were really not showing up in a lot of AI searches on ChatGPT and Gemini. And we were like, okay, why is this happening? Our SEO is really good. We did some research for the people in the crowd that do not know this. ChatGPT.
All six of you?
Yeah.
both of the listeners.
Yeah. But so for the two people listening, ChatGPT pulls from Bing. And if you told me that Bing was going to be on my 2025 marketing bingo card, I would have told you you're crazy. I would have been like, what? Bing hasn't been relevant my entire life. What are you talking about? I think Bing is like, 3% of searches or something? Google
I thought it was a little higher, but not much. Yeah, it's 3. Maybe it could be. I always thought like 10, but it's probably like 3.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So we don't really optimize for Bing. It just hasn't been a priority. I mean, we optimize for Google. We have Bing Places, like we have Google Business Profile. You guys should check that one too if you haven't in a while.
Yeah.
Honestly. Yeah. So we were like, okay, we need to fix this. We need to rank. We've got to figure this out. So we went through and we created content around the AI search for each of those micro environments that we are marketing to. And now we rank. So that took us about 2 to 3 months to do that. We focused on that in Q3. We created a GPT, working with our web developers, we created a GPT where we can put in the URL of the page and it will create the back end schema data that we need to add. So we use this little WordPress plugin. We copy paste that in. It organizes our FAQs really, really nicely. And then once a quarter, I'm just running all the data to make sure that we're ranking. Because AI search is important, but I just also want to put out there that it's only 5% of all searches. Like it has grown from 1% last year to 5% this year. Significant growth. But don't spend like all 12 months of your year working on just AI search. Like I would say of your SEO strategy, maybe it's 20%, 15% right now. And then as things scale and grow, at least for us, that's the approach we're taking. As things scale and grow, we're going to grow with it.
You're
What
doing
do
the
you guys
20%,
think
like you're
about
doing
that?
the 20% prep work now so that you don't have to
Yeah.
spend 100% of it later because you're not up to speed, right? Like
Yeah,
if you're kind of
exactly.
staying current with it now, then you won't need to go, crazy for it later. But one thing I thought was interesting that you said was that you built a GPT, which is, I've been mulling this over myself, and I feel like it seems like such an insurmountable thing. Like you think about what you actually
Yeah,
have to do, but it's not actually as complicated as you might think, right? Like it's
really easy.
complex. It's complex if you
Yeah.
don't know what you're talking about, but
Yes.
it's actually not as crazy
Agreed.
difficult. So it's cool to hear that you guys have done that. I've been considering trying to build something of my own and trying to find the time for it, but it's definitely not like as hard as it
Uh,
sounds, right?
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. No, I would encourage you to just get in there when you've got like 30 minutes. So you're not spending an hour or two on it. Like maybe just limit yourself. But yeah, get in there and play around with it. It's a lot easier than you think it is. And you can ask the chat what you should do. You can say,
Yeah.
hey, I want to create a GPT that does this. What parameters should I give it? And then you can test it and be like, oh, this didn't work. Go back to the chat and say, hey, this didn't work. What do I need to do to fix this issue? And that's kind of like your cheat, right? To get
Yeah.
around it is use the chat against itself. But yeah, our web developers,
Isn't it crazy
they
to
were,
using AI to build AI? Like,
no, that's what
it's
it's
wild.
literally made for. It's
It's wild.
literally made to do that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no humans should be coding anymore. Like we
Yeah.
just shouldn't. Yeah,
Yeah.
brains
how
don't work
you-
that way.
So in terms of splitting your GEO and SEO efforts, it sounds like you're doing on page. You're getting more structured data. You were asking kind of what I think as well, and I think they're very related. There's a huge and heavy overlap. Where I'm kind of seeing a little more difference is like more specificity around who the products are for and how you're unique and relative to other options, and really trying to give it the context it needs to make a recommendation, because they begin to know you, right? So they're like, okay, Jackie, based on what I know about you, you're a marketer, you're based out of here.
Yeah.
We would start giving recommendations based on that, but you want to kind of spoon feed the algorithm. So a little bit more specificity, like in your FAQs or within the individual products. And where before you wanted to be kind of copy light, I'm finding how can I stuff more information in more places without overwhelming the visitor.
Yeah.
And FAQs are one of the best places for that, like you mentioned, but it's
Totally.
kind of different in that sense, like just kind of spoon feeding the AI to like give you that contextual recommendation.
We talked about that a bit at GWA, right? Because it's like if AI is pulling from, it's putting a pull from somewhere, and it like AI it'll make stuff up. If you don't give it the answer, it's gonna like, what do they call it, hallucinating an answer, or just like making stuff up. So like to Kev's point, if
I thought you and I just did that, but now AI's doing it also. And,
I do that every day.
just making it up. Isn't that what marketing is? Just kind of making it up as you go.
It's just smoke. That's all it is.
Smoke
a lot of that.
smoke and mirrors.
Smoke and mirrors. Yeah, that's all
magic.
it is.
Yeah.
Smoke and
Oh
mirrors
yeah,
and
little magic. Yeah. Totally.
Smoke, mirrors, and magic. I think we just found the title for this episode.
Yes.
Oh, I love that. That's great. Smoke, mirrors, magic, and AI.
And a little bit of AI dabbled in there. Yeah.
I'm also finding AI is like a really good, like administrative tool. So like consolidating notes, or like doing brain dumps, or like, hey, I've got our 17th location is opening. We want to keep all of the general stuff on this new page, but we want to add this location specific stuff on this page, and then can you discern the difference? And they can really draft a good starting point based on here's all the things about the company and all the locations, and then you spoon feed it the location specifics, and they kind of merge it, and then you have a really good fast starting point, as opposed to like doing all that thinking yourself.
Yeah,
so like you said, that makes you more human. You're spending less time sifting through like lines and lines of text, and then figuring out, okay, what's location specific, what's not, and so things like that are so good.
Yeah, and
a big
it's
admin assist. Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, it's almost like an extra person on your team too. Like you can almost give it those like lower end tasks, right? And that you really don't even want to give to a human because they're so tedious. So we'll even like say like, why isn't this page ranking? And we'll ask it, like things like that. And to your point, Kevin, about like telling the AI who things are for, we have a section like that on our product pages, and it says like who virtual offices are for, and this is like attorneys, and it has a little description. It's like, and when we've like created blogs on things, putting things in tables, putting things like comparison tables, or that's been really helpful. But yeah, it's just, the AI is, I think Francesco from Unity said this. He said, AI is stupid. He's like, it's just going to do what you tell it to do. So if you tell it to do something that isn't like a very good input, it's like ambiguous or what have you, it's not going to do a very good job. But if you really like coach it, like you said, teach it about you, teach it about your business, teach it about your audience, then it's going to take all of that and give you much better outputs.
I always tell people to treat it like a junior employee, the same level of guidance and feedback and right. Like you need to give it the same, if you want to get that good output from it, you really need to be giving it solid inputs. I've also found like, I don't know, for me, like doing strategies for clients, like I found it's really helpful in terms of doing competitor analysis. Like as it's gotten more sophisticated, more information's available, doing competitor analysis and kind of like white space analysis in terms of like, okay, what's everybody else doing and where can we find a slot where we can fit in with something unique, which used to take like days and days and days. I find that now is cut back to like a couple hours instead. I kind of feel like you're cheating though when it like, I know it's like you're supposed to use it and it's helpful and that's what it's there for. The purist in me always just goes like, I kind of feel like I'm cheating here. Like, am I going to get somebody gonna get mad at me if they find out that I'm using this? You know?
No one will get mad at you, but that's our generation, right? Like
it is.
We got introduced to cell phones and the internet, and we're still like those kind of grassroots, like kids at the end of the day where we ran around barefoot and jumped off swing sets and had to be home by the time the streetlights turned on. So it feels a little weird to like crack open a laptop, type in a prompt, and you get everything done. Whereas before you had to like go to an encyclopedia, you had to like go ask 20 experts, you know, and then you had to sit down and figure it out. It'd take you a week. So it
like
does feel a little strange. Yeah.
It's
but
like,
then
you're not gonna have a calculator everywhere, and then you're like, won't I? It's literally just a feature of my. I can talk to my calculator and it'll give me the answer, right?
Yeah,
so like it's a mindset thing. Yeah.
I've used calculus all of 0 times in my adult life.
I'm so glad.
Like, trigonometry, never had to do that.
Yeah, no, definitely
not.
not.
It's a commodity.
We are definitely like that generation, though. I guess we're all kind of in the similar generation. But like half of our lives was spent no technology at all, and then we got hit with cell phones.
Everything.
I was like 17, and then you're like, oh wow. And now like the younger generations are just like born with it. They just get it right away, and they're so used to it. Like we thought we were tech savvy because we embraced it. These guys are like born with it, so it's like still a weird thing where you're kind of like leaning into it, but it hasn't always been there.
Yeah, I feel nothing makes me feel like a dinosaur more than talking to my like 20-year-old niece about just technology and stuff. I'm like, oh, cool. Yeah. I don't know anything anymore.
Start being like a
then I'll see like I've been coding websites since the early 2000s, which is now over 20 years, right? Like, so I cracked open an FTP editor and would build HTML websites back in the day. And then I'm talking to someone who's 22 and I'm like, oh yeah, like you're exactly the same age as I've been building websites as an example. And then that led me to freelancing and I'm like, oh wow. But then, you know, the kids are just as smart, right? These days, like the young people coming up.
Absolutely.
Like, obviously we all have a lot to learn, all of us, but like, I'm going to ask you another tactical question to kind of shift gears a little bit. And it's just in terms of how you manage projects. So with all the things you have going on, with all the locations, is there a trick or a framework or an approach? Do you use a tool? Like, how do you keep on track on top of all the different moving parts?
This is so bad. We use a Google Doc.
Thank you. That
we
is
use
like
a Google Sheet.
That's good. I think you can go to space in a Google Doc or a Google Sheet. That's
great.
Not embarrassing.
Kevin loves a Google Doc. I think he actually had a resource to download from one of our first episodes where he like lives and dies by the Google Doc and like the sheets, tabs and sub-tabs. Like,
nice. Yeah, no, that's awesome. You can do so much. It's so robust. We've got a few sheets that we reference, like one's for SEO, one's got our content, one has like our goals for the quarter. Like we have overarching marketing goals where we have to hit certain revenue, we have to like hit certain percentage of the marketing budget spent, you know, things like that we're trying to reach in addition to the leads and the traffic and everything else. So and then I just meet with my team a lot, you know, like I've got the marketing call in 10 minutes. I've got SEO review with my CEO right after that. And we've got our roundtable next week. So you know that have you ever read that book, Death by Meeting?
No.
But great book.
I'll add that to my list.
It can be like brutal. Yeah. Oh gosh, I bet being a consultant, I'm sure you're just in meetings like crazy. So this book, it's really cool. It's about making meetings efficient for your organization. I read it when I was working at the logistics corporation. And you should have like a standing meeting with your team every single day where you just stand around and you each say like, okay, this is what we're working on. cool. I might need help with this. I'm
Every
going to be at
day.
this meeting at
Cool.
this time. Every day, you're just like, this is what we're doing. And then once a week, you sit down, you have like a 30-minute just tactical meeting. And then once a month, you have like a 1 to 2 hour meeting where you flesh out a bigger strategy. And then once a quarter, you have like a 2 to 3 hour meeting where you plan things, maybe for the next 6 months to a year. It just is really nice because that standing meeting is so key. Like it just checks you in with your team. You all know you're working towards the same goal. You all know where the projects are. So I think that that's really helpful. We don't do that over Zoom, but we have just a weekly marketing meeting where we sit down and we go through everything. Because I work remote, Kim works remote, and then Isabella's at her center. So for us to do a standing meeting is nearly impossible. But this little 30-minute once a week meeting basically does that for us because we don't have so many moving parts where we need to be like, oh, okay, did you do this piece of content? Did you do this SEO? We're lucky where things are pretty straightforward.
And the cool thing about a sheet, Google Sheet or Doc, is that you can't hide, right? Like tools like Asana, they get infinitely complex, and then you're like, okay, like I don't even know how to tell what we're working on, and no one else can tell either because you have to know advanced algebra to get through all of your moving parts and tasks and stuff.
Oh yeah.
So I love the simplicity, and I love that idea. I've written down death by meeting, so I'm going to check that out because
cool.
I don't want to cause any death by meeting because that's.
It might help you. Yeah, and it might help if you have like. Sometimes you work with clients and they don't want to have meetings, right? Or sometimes they want to have too many meetings, and you're like, oh, so maybe it'll be a little helpful. I hope so.
Kev's about to get very introspective. Am I doing too much? Am I doing too little?
It's only Monday. It's only Monday. You got to spread it out through the week.
Yeah, it's a long week ahead.
Yeah.
I know you got a meeting in 8 minutes, and I want to give you some breathing room before this. I just had one last question that I wanted to ask you that's not so tactical, but I'm so interested. Like I know you talk about marketing to attorneys a lot, or like putting attorneys as kind of like your target audience. And I'm just curious because I feel like having that understanding is something that a lot of operators could benefit from, but don't necessarily have in place. So I'm curious, was that like chicken and egg kind of thing? Did you guys kind of identify that you were the place for attorneys first, or did you think that you might be and start marketing? Like, how did that come to be where you decided to go that way? And then how did you roll it out?
When I came on board, or with the company as a whole?
Just, I guess with the company as a whole. I guess it maybe predated you there. Is that, and you might not have that insight.
Yeah, so. I have a little bit of insight. We started out as really heavily focused on virtual offices. That was like PAC's main business. And then I don't know the exact story of how we got more into like the co-working model, because we've been in business for so long. When we first started, it was executive suites. Like that was right. It wasn't co-working. That was the business model. So I'm not exactly sure how that all morphed together. Excuse me. But for me, I talked to all of our managers, and most of our centers, if you look at our portfolio, are
AirPod down.
Can't hear you. Hold on, no, I can't hear you now. That AirPod was the key.
You're gonna have to edit that one. Okay.
You just made Kev feel so much better.
I'm so sorry. It was like
we're leaving
like
it
the
all
curly
in.
hair caught it.
Yeah,
gosh,
we're probably not editing.
Perfect. And then she's gone. Just drops off the episode. You never find out. What about the attorneys? No.
The cliffhanger. The episode ends on a cliffhanger.
Coming back. Yeah.
How did they know? Yeah. So if you look at most of our centers, the way that we have chosen our sites is we basically looked at the big brands, right, in the region, and we saw where they were located. And we said, okay, they've done these big network studies. Like we looked at the success of those centers and we said, okay, are they successful? Are they not? Where could we be positioned in order to be like a viable competitor without, cannibalizing ourselves? Yep. So with that, we ended up near a lot of Capitol buildings, a lot of courthouses, things like that. So just, I think naturally we started attracting attorneys and CPAs and things like that. We do have like some diversity with that. So we don't just target attorneys. I kind of just say that as like, not like a blanket statement, but that's our main audience is attorneys. and financial professionals, and even real estate agents as well. So I think that's really where it came from, is like our site selection and our proximity to the amenities that those customers need and want.
Yeah, gotcha. And it's been a net positive since kind of honing in on them.
Yeah, I think it makes more sense, right? Because we do have, like, our average member age, I think, is like 45. So we're not getting like a lot of, young entrepreneur, young startups. Like, we have quite a few, at our San Francisco location. We have quite a few, tech folks in San Mateo, like things like that. But again, like in Reno, it's nonprofits, it's attorneys, it's CPAs. And so if we're trying to bring people in where they don't necessarily feel like it's their people, right? Like, so if I bring in someone who's like a 30-something tech entrepreneur to our Oakland office, Oakland, it's all highbrow attorneys, like wearing very fancy suits, like doing important things. So I bring somebody in there and they're going to be like, oh, this is just not my people, right?
Yeah.
Like, and that's what we want. We want the community. Like, we have really high retention of our members. We have people who've been members with us for 15, 16, 18, 20
Wow.
years. Yeah. And they've followed us. Like, they've followed locations. They've changed, with us. So that's really cool. And that's what we want. And we may be, losing out on some of the quick turnover stuff, but we want that longevity. We want the people that also care the way that we care.
Yeah, that's awesome. Good way to end it. We don't want to give you death by meetings as well. We know we got 3 minutes to reset your brain after this fiasco. So
appreciate it.
We can wrap it up and let you go.
Oh, that's awesome.
Jackie,
no, thank you guys.
Yeah, we'll put links to Pack on in the show notes and stuff. Can we also link to your LinkedIn in case anyone wants to connect with you? Is that good place?
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Well, thank you for doing this.
Thank you so much. There's way more we wanted to ask you, so we might have to kind of reinvite you once once this episode gets out. And hopefully it's not too
I'd be honored.
with all our tech issues.
No, I'd love to. That's awesome. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. This was super
great
fun.
episode.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Yes. Take care.